Freedom and beauty to everyone. I am the Technomage, and welcome back to my review of Netflix Avatar: The Last Airbender, Episode 4, Into the Dark. And this episode is bad. Yeah, they really flopped it with this one. And I will tell you why. And the first thing they did bad, and I mean bad, is Bumi. Oh god, they did him so wrong. Because in the original series, yes, Aang has an audience with the King of Machu, Bumi, which we know is his old friend Bumi from his childhood, who is still alive. And well, there Bumi doesn't reveal himself as Aang's old friend until Aang figures it out on his own after passing many tests. And it's a good lesson for him because Bumi is trying to help him, to prepare him to become the Avatar, because he teaches him that he needs to keep his mind open to the possibilities and don't be too narrow-minded and all that. That would be very useful for him on his mission of becoming a full-fledged Avatar. But here in the series, dude,
care? Have you been fighting?
We have a lot, and I mean a lot of dialogues, but I mean they cannot stop talking. And all of the dialogue between Bumi and Aang is Bumi berating Aang and chastising him for not being there for the last 100 years and that he had to fight this war on his own.
Rock skipping.
Bumi?
He discovers right away that he is Bumi. Bumi reveals himself immediately, and the rest of the episode, all the so-called tests that he subjects Aang to, is just to berate him about being a coward, of not being there when the world needed him. And then when they finally have their due,
The simplest one of them versus me.
and we have, bloody hell, both of Bumi and would you believe me if I tell you that this is the actor of Bumi? This guy, Utkarsh Amdukar, I mean, look at this guy. He's really young. And here, again, makeup in this, at least with Bumi, the makeup was perfect. Everybody else, the makeup is trash. But with Bumi, oof, they did an amazing job. I mean, I actually thought the first time I saw this episode that they actually got an older actor for Bumi, one that actually had managed him quite well and it was still very muscular. But that's about the final thing they do good with Bumi, because the rest of the fight,
You were the Avatar.
Bumi only berates and criticizes and throws a lot of hatred
On anyone.
on Aang, and I mean a lot. I mean, he doesn't say good something about Aang until the end of the episode,
It's time.
when instead of Bumi teaching something to Aang, Aang teaches something to Bumi.
I wasn't here for the world. Or for you.
Which honestly was a horrible idea, because Bumi was one of the best characters in the series. He was someone that actually knew Aang, a friend who was still alive after 100 years. And I mean, a connection with Aang's past, and who was still alive and fighting and supporting Aang. Because that's the point that I wanted to make. In the original series, Bumi did all the crazy things that he did in the episode that he appears, because he wanted to help Aang. He wanted to support him. And this episode, he hates Aang. Imagine that. Imagine that change. Why would you make such a choice? Make Bumi hate Aang? I mean, what the hell were you thinking? Now, seriously, Bumi was done wrong. I mean, seriously, total character assassination. Now, the other things that they change, I mean, Suk and Katara meet
It's a tale of two lovers.
the hippies on the tunnels under Omashu because they want to rescue Aang. And they heard about the story about
the mountain that divided their two
the
villages.
founding of Omashu, about the two lovers, Oma and Shu,
The villages were enemies,
where-
so they couldn't be together.
which
But
we see on the original series.
Oma didn't come. She'd been killed in an attack.
And we discover that in this version, in the next Netflix version, Oma and Shu are both women. They're lesbians.
Devastated, Shu wielded her earth.
So you see, they told you that Oma, she was killed in an attack, and Shu wielded her power. They are both women. Why? Why did they change that? I mean, the story is exactly the same. Two lovers that meet each other through the tunnels dug by the mole. Something, I don't remember what animals they were. But anyway, the only reason that I can think of is diversity, equity, and inclusion. The only reason why Oma and Shu are now lesbians is just that. Diversity. That's all. Now, one thing they did correctly in the original series, it's Katara and Aang who go through the tunnels, and they actually share their first kiss together on the tunnels. Badger, there he was, the mole badgers or badger moles, one of the two. Now here it is Sokka and Katara who goes through the tunnels, and actually it was a good decision because throughout the series, Katara and Sokka had gone through a lot of tension between the two of them. And here we get some backstory and character development for them.
Anger, fear, but mostly love.
Same way they finally make peace with each other, and they apologize with each other, and that finally
I'm sorry too.
comes down the badger mole or mole badger, so one of the two, you know. But again, now this was done right. What was done wrong was this. Uncle Iroh, because he was, as I said last episode, he was also captured, and he's been transported to a prison by a squad of Omashu airbending soldiers, which happened in the original series under other circumstances, but it's practically the same. At the end, Zuko is trying to rescue him, and we have this.
As a coward.
We have a lot of exposition on Zuko's and Iroh's shared past, and we see the funeral of
Brother.
of Lieutenant
Take comfort.
Iroh's son. And this was a stupid decision. Why? In the original series, Uncle Iroh was always this wise man, this helpful and cheerful individual who's always by his nephew's side, protecting him, guiding him, loving him. He's this great character. And then in season 2, we have this moment, like this short moment, but that had the emotional weight of a mountain. When we discovered the reason why Iroh wanted to go to Ba Sing Se was to celebrate his son's birthday, his son who died during the siege of Ba Sing Se. And we hear the famous song Leaves of the Vine. And we find out that this cheerful man, this wise man who is always ready to help everybody around him, he have had his own share of sorrow and grief and loss because he lost his only son. And that moment was horrible, beautiful, but so sad. And what do they do here? They water it down. And they go long and long with it. I mean, I know they are trying to show some more backstory for the relationship between Zuko and his uncle Iroh. But we already know that because we are already on episode 4. And the other 3 episodes we see that Zuko respects his uncle and that his uncle cares and protects and nurtures and educates his nephew. And then by season 2 of the original series, we get the Leaves of the Vine scene. Here, we have this very long exposition about Lieutenant, and in the background, if you pay attention, they are playing Leaves of the Vine. So when we get to season 2, if we get the Leaves of the Vine scene, it will not have the same impact than in the animated series because we already know that Iroh lost his son and we already heard the melody of Leaves of the Vine. Well, at least we will have the lyrics if they show that scene in season 2 of the series. And final thoughts. My cabbages. The cabbage merchant. He actually appeared in the previous episode, Omashu, and they tease him, and they tease him, and they tease him. They just keep waving him in front of our faces, under our noses, until they finally had him say the famous line, "My cabbages!" Honestly, that was unnecessary. I mean, like, it was just bait. Nostalgia bait. And that's my review for episode 4, Into the Dark. This is the Technomage, signing off. Thank you for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.